Are you ready for one of the most sordid tales of how a network might go belly up in the modern era? Well, get ready, folks, because CBS could do just that. Today, we're taking a look at the fact that, well, they're facing a $20 billion lawsuit. The FCC is investigating them, and now the news division is being run in such a way we're afraid they might actually be sabotaging the future existence of the entire company. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the channel that is changing hearts and minds, one video at a time, simply by telling the truth with a capital T. We understand the industry, entertainment, news, ratings, all of it. We understand it better than some of the experts know it themselves. As we get ready to dive into today's content, consider clicking the like button. This is a big one because we are talking today about the fact, as we see it, that CBS is being so poorly run, both from the top and in the middle, that it could be the end of its efforts to be sold to Skydance. And if that happens, all Hades breaks loose on the network that was once, well, the envy of not just Viacom, but of everyone else. All right, this is coming to us via the Wall Street Journal, and it's hosted on MSN. Get ready, because it looks like to us that Skydance could be signaling that they may walk from buying CBS. And if they walk from buying CBS, let's just say that legacy media goes up in smoke in a way that most people have no idea the dominoes that could fall. Here we go. Paramount Global is wrestling with whether to settle President Trump's lawsuit against its CBS News unit and how it might do so without exposing executives to future legal threats, such as accusations of bribery. Company executives, this is a real story, this is not parody. Company executives in recent weeks have talked about the risk that such a settlement could expose directors and officers to liability in potential future shareholder litigation or criminal charges. Criminal charges for bribing a public official, according to people familiar with the conversations. Some executives have expressed an additional concern that such litigation may not be protected by director and officer insurance, some of the people with knowledge of the discussions said. Now, what are they trying to settle? A $20 billion lawsuit in regards to election interference. A $20 billion lawsuit. We'll talk about why that's existential to them in just a minute. Paramount is awaiting regulatory approval for its merger with Skydance Media, and that means essentially it will be bought by Skydance Media. Some executives have flagged the potential risk that if the company settles and the deal is approved in short order, the payment could be construed as a bribe, the people familiar with the matter said. However, some executives involved in the merger see settling the lawsuit, which is focused on how CBS edited a 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris, as a way to alleviate tensions with the Trump administration. People close to them said. At Paramount, some executives opposed the settlement and the precedent it might establish. People involved in the merger have floated the possibility of Larry Ellison, fourth richest guy in the world, who is close to Trump and is the father of Skydance owner David Ellison, negotiating a deal with an administration that would allow the merger to go through in the near term. Let's get to the big news. This is the one right here. A person close to the Ellisons said they are hesitant, and this is coming from Wall Street Journal, so this is not a rag. A person close to the Ellisons said they are hesitant to close the deal with Paramount unless a settlement is reached. So unless they settle the lawsuit with Trump, they're not going to be bought. Now, why does that matter? Folks, we'll go here. The total value, the total market capitalization of Paramount is $8.2 billion. Paramount owns and runs CBS. The total market capitalization is $8.2 billion. In other words, the lawsuit exceeds double the value of the entire company. That's why it must be settled before Skydance seems interested in getting their hands on it. But the executives allegedly are terrified to settle because they think they'll get sued into oblivion. And all of this comes from that deceptively edited, allegedly, 60 Minutes interview that you all thought was atrocious and has put them in an atrocious place to be. Let's go here now. Charlie Gasparino back in December had this one. It's amazing. It says, how CBS's left-wing bias could impact Skydance Media's $8 billion deal to merge with Paramount. Yeah, Charlie, you nailed it back in December. It says, Skydance Media may finally win regulatory approval for its $8 billion deal to merge with Paramount Global, but the process could look something out of Mission Impossible. That's the word from sources close to the mega deal who tell me that under terms of a merger approval being discussed by the incoming Trump administration's FCC, Paramount's CBS network could be forced to make a slew of surprising and dramatic changes. What is that, you say? Well, let's go down here. According to people close to to Trump's transition team, CBS could, among other things, be forced to turn over a full transcript of 60 Minutes. They did that. But people close to the situation tell me the stakes could be far broader than that. In short, Skydance will be asked to demonstrate to Team Trump that CBS will become a fair arbiter of the news. Oh. So in other words, this is so fun. They are facing a lawsuit that exceeds their value. At the same time, they're being investigated by the FCC. The rule seems to be that they can get out of this if they'll go back to being fair. And there may be some people at CBS who don't want to be fair. And because of that, it has everybody tied up to the point that CBS could go under. And it's to the point that Paramount might have to look at some way to offload this thing if Skydance isn't willing to buy them. And Skydance isn't going to buy them unless they settle the lawsuit. Then if they settle the lawsuit, the executives who put them in this position in the first place are terrified they're going to get criminal charges and lawsuits against them. So everybody seems to be seeking out their own personal mission here of don't go under for what happened. Now let me show you this one more thing, and then we'll get the panel in on it. I want to show you this. I want you to see, because I kind of think that CBS News, and I've got an opinion on this, and I'm allowed to have one of those. It just kind of looks to me like CBS News doesn't want to be in the middle. They don't want to go back to being fair and balanced. They don't want to do that. And I just kind of wonder if CBS News is kind of adding fuel to the fire in this existential threat to everything related to the network and to the deal happening with Skydance. And if Skydance doesn't buy it, then I don't know what happens to a company that has a lawsuit that doubles its entire value. Here's the video I want you to show you. This came out yesterday. I just want you to see briefly CBS News and see what you think about, are they playing it fair? Are they doing what they need to do to help the rest of the company survive? Here we go.
Margaret Brennan in Washington now. So, Margaret, where does it seem they're going with all of this?
Well, overnight, nearly all of the 10,000 USAID employees who work to feed the world, combat disease, and respond to disasters, they learned they'll be put on leave as of midnight on Friday. And while the first target is foreign aid, it makes up a very small fraction of the federal budget, less than 1%. But it may be a test case for what is coming to other parts of the federal government.
Let them work!
Let us work, they shouted.
Let us work!
USAID personnel have been locked out of their offices and emails since Monday, leaving many confused as to whether they'll even have health care or paychecks coming. We spoke with one of those individuals who has spent the past decade at USAID.
All right, let's pause there and let's just ask, panel, does it look to you like CBS News is playing this down the middle? Or do you think that was already drastically against Doge and Trump and what they're trying to do with cutting back the federal government overspend?
Is that the same lady who matter-of-factly tried to tell Marco Rubio that the situation with World War II was caused by there being an overabundance of free speech?
Free speech, yeah. This is the crazy lady that said that. You are correct, sir.
That's crazy. I don't understand why. So I'm looking at this news, and we're seeing cuts to the federal government, right? To our tax dollars being saved. I never see them report layoffs like this. Like when a corporation, say, cuts 10,000 jobs, they never cut to the workers that were laid off and do like long stories about how their lives are impacted. It's just, they just read right through it. 10,000 layoffs at such and such company today. Why are they reporting it like this for when our U.S. tax dollars are being saved? And is this reporting even fair and correct? It does not seem like it's a balanced reporting at all to me, which is strange.
It could sink the whole deal, Ron.
Well,
why in the world would they
CBS
not
used to be fair. There was 25 years ago, CBS was fair. This is crazy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, we are at existential levels of threat for them doing this. Like, you would think that somebody would say, hey guys, like, it doesn't seem like anybody's in charge, because you would think that from the top down, they would say, listen, we're all going to be out of job here. Like, we're facing a lawsuit that we can't pay, and we got to settle this lawsuit. Or right. I guess they could fight it, but if they fight it, they don't settle it, then they don't get bought by Skydance. Like, there's no good thing except tell the news fairly, and they refuse.
There's something that I want to bring up. In the early YouTube days, there was a lot more of just people lip syncing to songs and just flat out copyright infringement kind of content. And sometimes when a video site gets bought out by a larger entity, like say Google or something like that, that is the moment when people start to come out with the lawsuits and things like that. That's I think the fact that Skydance is very much tied to Larry Ellison, one of the richest men in the entire world. That's people seeing money bags there if that goes through. And Skydance is smart to keep themselves away from that liability. As far as CBS News goes, it's a waste. I mean, I get it, and it has some level of viewership here, but it is a useless entity if they don't make this go away. $20 billion is more than the entire value. It's $8 billion to buy Paramount, which includes CBS News. So it would be foolish to buy an entity that costs $20 billion and it costs $8 billion just so you can pay almost 3 times that amount in order to get a news organization that's kind of, I mean, they're not doing fantastic in the ratings.
Well, here's the
hold on just a second. Hold on a second. We've got something breaking. Hang on, guys. Here we go. I don't think it played. All right, this is breaking, folks. Apologies on the technical difficulty there. Ariel Zilver is the author over at the New York Post. This came out just prior to the show and was brought to my attention. Paramount, Trump agreed to appoint mediator to settle $20 billion lawsuit over 60 Minutes Kamala Harris interview. So we're getting some movement now. This will add to the conversation, eh? Lawyers representing Paramount and Donald Trump have agreed to bring in a mediator to facilitate discussions about a possible settlement in the president's ongoing $20 billion lawsuit against subsidiary CBS. The decision to bring in a third party signals a potential effort by both sides to resolve the dispute. The lawsuit filed by Trump accuses 60 Minutes of deceptively editing an interview with then Vice President Kamala Harris. CBS has denied anything nefarious. The lawsuit was initially filed in the days leading up to the 2024 presidential election. Settlement discussions between Paramount, the parent company of CBS, and Trump began earlier this year. Okay, so let's talk about this then. Mediation often is not quick. CBS and Paramount need this to be quick. Culture, aka not Mike Zero, it would seem to me they're going to pay some money.
Yeah, they're probably going to cough up some serious dough. And look, they were tipping towards entertainment and bringing it in a big way because they kind of actually had Safra Catz leave Disney back to Oracle, leave their board anyway, so that she could basically run Oracle. She has an entertainment background, or at least board background with entertainment now, and it probably was going to free up Larry to the extent where he could help David with this particular situation as far as launching this new company within, this Skydance effort, right? So, but you pointed out the most important thing. You have a family with very, very deep pockets, so it's in Skydance's best interest to make this go away. So if they write an $8 billion check to Trump rather than a $20 billion check to Trump, maybe there's a win there. Or if they get in writing that this type of thing will never happen again, this is the way we'll manage the news structure. The current, executives that have been leaning towards neo-Marxism and their reporting will all be let go upon, the completion of the deal. I mean, there's going to be a lot of factors in there, and it's going to be kept away. It's one of the reasons probably they put a mediator in the middle, so it doesn't get public scrutiny. There's going to be some backroom deals, for lack of a better way to say it, because that's just how business is done. They want this. They want this entertainment company badly, and they want the catalog that Paramount has to offer. They want the IPs that Paramount has to offer, and it's another way to expand the reach for the Ellison family. It makes perfect sense. Now, Larry's underwritten his daughter's business efforts as well, but those have failed spectacularly. This might be, a chance to get a win with one of his family members.
So
Anyway,
the settlement is part one of this. So they got to do that fairly quickly, and fairly quickly means money. So they're going to spend some big money. The second part of this is the FCC, and it sounds to me like, according to Charlie Gasparino, they've got to convince the FCC that they're going to moderate their news coverage so that it's down the middle. Now, if you're left of center, you might argue that that's putting the thumb on the scale, and that the Trump administration is really going to want them to turn into a new little Fox News. I don't think that's necessarily true, but if you're left of center, you might believe it. This is a two-step process. This is just the beginning. I'm not sure that Skydance is going to get a hold of this quickly. I think this is going to delay this significantly, unless Paramount's willing to come to the table and say, "Hey, Trump, and I don't know how they would give $5 billion. I don't know how they even get within 10%. And this is the problem when you do stuff like what they did with 60 Minutes. This is the problem. There's a huge penalty to pay when you deceive, and that's what's alleged here. Panel, your thoughts on it?
I'm going to say right now, they can deny all they want about this Kamala interview. The evidence is out there. There is no denying. They 100% edited that interview, and they're going to lose this. That's why they're trying to get this mediator in there to basically mediate, and come to some sort of agreement. But I don't know if you guys have looked at the U.S. cable and broadcast TV network rankings lately, but CBS has lost 48% of their audience just in the month of February. The only other news network, or the only other network out there that's done worse, is ABC. It 49%. So they've lost almost half of their audience just in the month of February. These cable networks are a dying breed. Everybody is turning to YouTube streaming services. I don't know how they're going to survive this. CBS is 100% absolutely in the toilet right now. And yeah, it's not looking good for them at all.
And the amount they may pay, Nick, could dwarf what ABC paid. Could dwarf
big time.
Facebook paid.
Yeah, big time.
Jonas, Ron, any thoughts on this one? This is huge, because if they don't get this done, this could be the first legacy network that goes belly up.
I'm just is Paramount the company that has Mission Impossible, that franchise?
Yes, Skydance and Paramount
Skydance.
work on.
All right, so
Skydance produces it, but it is a Paramount picture,
right?
No, I'm just wondering how this affects the entertainment world when it comes to that. Like, I just think of the legacy, like not even thinking CBS, but the legacy of Paramount Studios in Hollywood. The legacy. I mean, it's so weird to come to this day and age where Hollywood legacies are being ruined because of a handful of really foolish ideological people on the far left making moves like they did with this editing of the video. That it's bizarre. It's like the day and age that we're living in is bizarre. There was a time when news was just news and it was reported fairly, and you never even had to worry about this. But now, a small handful of people with an agenda that goes against what the vast majority of people in the world want, and by the way, all of the time, remember that they were touting this could be the end of democracy if Trump gets elected, except everything they're doing goes completely against democracy, which is the majority rule. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. What's happening in not just like obviously with this, but all of entertainment. We just see this downhill slide. And I mean, I guess it's good news for people like us, the new media, who are certainly going to take advantage of it along the way.
I do think it's fascinating that Skydance, you know, when that comes out from Wall Street Journal that says Skydance is ready to walk if this settlement doesn't happen, boom, you've got a mediator. And at the same time, the executives are terrified. They're terrified they're going to get sued. And the news organization is like refusing to do anything to help, alleviate those concerns. So it's really funny to me to watch the news organization, the news side of this, just be like, screw all of you. We'll burn it down, baby. I don't know that that's what's happening. That's my own personal subjective assessment, but it's certainly what it looks like when you've got Margaret Brennan redefining history and, saying free speech. That's what brought on the worst atrocities of the last 100 years. Like, get her off the screen, man. Get her off the screen. As ever, folks, we endeavor to have a good time here on the Pro Channel, and I have to say that spending time with you, talking about things that truly matter, like the stories that shape our lives and our culture, well, it is the ride of a lifetime to steal from Bob Iger. And that's the only thing we'll steal from Bob because he has great security around his yacht. Folks, as we get ready to say goodbye, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. And folks, worry not, for more content is still on the way. 3 or 4 times a day. Let's do 4. I think that's better. And you know what? Don't forget that the Pro Show is live Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Eastern. You can also join us for our friends on That Park Place, our partner program. We have a good time there too. Folks, until the next time we get the opportunity to have a good time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as ever, keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.